Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about the Trump New York case again. And we're going to talk about judges and impartiality and some pieces of information that have surfaced and whether or not they should weigh on the proceedings. If you missed it, the judge in the case was talking about some of Trump's rhetoric and some of the statements on social media and how they could be interpreted. At pretty much the same time, his sons were tweeting out an article that contained an image of the judge's daughter. The implication in the article was, I don't even know if it was in the article, but the implication that those spreading it were trying to create was that the judge's daughter, because she had volunteered or worked with the Harris campaign, somehow that makes the judge incapable of being on this case, and the judge should recuse himself. Okay, but what is the specific conflict of interest that's being suggested? Certainly, the Republican Party is not saying that all judges are apolitical, or that they should be, or that they could only sit on cases that don't involve politicians or politics. It doesn't even make sense. And I'm certain they do not want to go down the road of saying a family member's political views would impact the judge's decisions. Trump had some of his cases go before Trump appointed judges. That seems like a much larger conflict to me. But the idea behind a judge is that they can set that stuff aside. Okay? And for the most part, they do. But since we know that that isn't what they're trying to imply, they're not trying to say that all Democratic or Republican Party judges should be off the bench. I mean, obviously that's not what they're saying. They're trying to imply some form of conspiracy. In fact, some of them flat out said that. Basically saying that it was it was all engineered. So let's run through that real quick. And then we're going to get to the reality of what would happen if Biden actually wanted Trump in cuffs, detained in a cell. Okay, so Biden makes that decision according to this theory. So Biden reaches out to Harris, who reaches out to a low-level campaign worker, who reaches out to her dad, who's a judge, who then reaches out to a DA, who then decided to campaign on that like beforehand, but that's just magic. And then the DA reaches out to Cohen to get some evidence and to other people to get evidence, then takes it before the grand jury, and somehow all of them play along with this. Probably they have a cousin who once voted for Kennedy or something, and that's how this kangaroo court, this witch hunt came to be. You understand how Looney Tunes that sounds, right? It's ridiculous. Those spreading this kind of information, they're just assuming that their base is not smart enough to figure it out, that their base will parrot whatever they're told, and that they can't think for themselves. Let's talk about what would actually happen if Biden made the decision to put Trump in a cell. That's what he really wanted to do. Would he have to go through all that? No, absolutely not. All he has to do is reach out to the IC, to the intelligence community, and ask for a product. Ask for an assessment of the risk of somebody who constantly meets with foreign nationals, has millions of dollars at their disposal, their own plane, and is known to have retained classified material even after they were asked to give it back. ask for a risk assessment of that. That product would then be shared with FBI counterintelligence. Let's be super clear on something. The federal government, Biden's DOJ, has been ridiculously lenient when it comes to the former president. Any other person who did what he is accused of doing, anybody that was accused of that had that quantity of classified material and was retaining it even after they were told they needed to give it back, there was a subpoena, so on and so forth. After all of that, anybody who did that would be in a cell, and they would sit there and wait until the case was determined. Especially if they were known for meeting with foreign nationals, had millions of dollars in a plane. The fact that Trump isn't awaiting the outcome of this inside of a room with bars is proof positive that the federal government, that Biden's DOJ, is not actually out to get him. They are extending him every courtesy, far beyond what can reasonably be expected. There is no man behind the curtain. The world is just a chaotic, scary place. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.